Okay, I'm all lined up today. It's about a minute and a half to the open. I got everything lined up. Things I'm looking at right now, obviously Palantir, a lot of volatility going to the downside. Tesla, Nvidia, and iBit. iBit is probably the one I'm gonna be doing something with because it's the one most tied into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's been making new highs and breaking into blue sky territory. So that's the one I'm really looking at right now. I want to see if we can get into something with a dip buy on it, looking at Coinbase as well. So, just so you understand, I mean, my watch list is here and I can basically click. So I'm doing a combination. I'm tying it in Thinkorswim charts because I'm so used to it at this point. I'm tying it into my platform. And by doing that, I can have two different sets of systems going on, which is fine with me. Everybody's different. It's what I'm used to over the last 20 something years. And it makes it easier for me. So we have about 30 seconds left, give or take. So again, I'm not a pro, but this is live, totally random. I can win, I can lose, it doesn't matter. And just so everybody knows, the reason I can do this, or the reason I'm doing this is, I have a lot of friends of mine that want to do this. We're getting into the age where they want to create a secondary income. So I said I'd put the videos up, take a look at it, be my guest, I'm not going to train anybody. I'm not going to sell a course. So there's the bell. And right now we're looking at iShares have not really moved too much. Just sitting there right now. Hasn't made a big move. Nothing's really making a big move at this point. Let's see. Nvidia making a little turn up. So we're about 20 seconds into this right now. There are days that you're going to have nothing. And it's fine. If you have nothing, Amazon over here looks like it's making a dip down. So that's why I put a ton of charts up there. So this way I can get an idea of what is moving. My basis is on movement. It's looking at support levels. It's looking at resistance levels. And based off of that, my eyes at this point, I'm really used to saying, okay, fine, I can look at this. And right now I'm looking at Palantir, and Palantir's making the move up. And I'm going to start shorting this one. Not too much, maybe 500 shares. And let's see what happens. My gut feeling is that it's definitely to the downside. IBIT is to the upside, in my personal opinion. So we have that topping tail going up there right now. And it's closing it up. Like I said, with a topping tail, it's got to be a closed out candle. So right now we have 30 seconds left before this 1 minute candle closes up. I'm only down 155, not a big deal. But again, this thing can run and then you'll look like an idiot completely. So, you want to be very careful about how you start off, especially in the first minute, because in the first minute, you could be looking at where next thing you know, you put the wrong side of it and, it's going to look bad. So again, I don't really like to do 2, 3, 4 stocks in a row. What I like to do is just concentrate on one. And right now, we're at the high at 125.90 something. Let's see what I should do. 125.87, 83. I'll throw another 500 shares in there. Sell another 500. So I'm in it now for 1,000 shares. I feel good about this one. I really do. So there you have the candle. It's still making a move up. So I'm not feeling that great about it, but not feeling bad about it. Well, like I said, this is something where you have to be calm and you have to look at trends, which way it's going. My personal gut feeling is that, we're looking for a downward slide on this thing. But, you never know, like they always say, you're right until you're wrong. So I just put another 500 in. I'm into it for 5,000, 1,500, okay? So at 1,500 shares, I'm down about $1,300, okay? And this is the beauty of, making sure that you have high leverage, but making sure that you're correct. Because let's just say I had $75,000 worth of buying power. That means I would have had to put $5,000 into this account. at 25 times leverage. So if that's all I had right now, I'd be approaching, 40% or 30% of my closeout price, which is basically, you get stopped out automatically, and that's not a good thing. But that's just hypothetically. So right now, if you had $100,000 and you're trading 25 times your money, that's $4,000 that you put into the account. At 4,000, I'm approaching 50% of my closeout price. But that's not where I'm at. I just, giving you a hypothetical. But at the same time, I can go in there. I'm at, 1,500 shares. So realistically, I never would have been had this many shares to begin with if I only had $100,000 worth of buying power. So we're waiting for that red candle to show up, and then we could basically start laying it in there. We're down about 1,600, which is not a lot. It's a lot. I'm not going to lie, but right now it's not a tremendous amount. We're waiting for that red candle to pop in there, and we get a reversal on it. So it's holding steady. Once it starts to go to the downside, then we'll start pouring it in there again. Once it starts going to the downside. So I just accidentally hit another 500 shares. Congratulations. So we all make mistakes. So, okay, there we go. It's starting to go to the downside. And now I'm just going to pour it in right there. All right. 7,500, 8,000 shares. So I'm into it for 8,000 shares. We're hoping that it starts to make that slide down. That's where I'm at. Let's just see what happens. I've been wrong, so there's nothing you could do about it. But like I said, I see the topping tail going there. I feel good if it closes out. But right now, I'm taking a huge gamble on this thing. At 8,000 shares, I'll make my money back in 2 seconds. But we have to see this thing flush down. If it doesn't flush down, then I'm an idiot. Simple as that, At that point, I've made a mistake, but I feel good. So you could see it was almost 4,000. It's starting to come back, okay? We're starting to get into the 70s. Come on. We just need this breakdown right here. We get this breakdown right here, then we'll be good. So right now, we're at 70, 72. So we got to break down to 126.50. Once we get that 126.50, I'll be real confident. It's holding tight. So we're at 84, 83, right in that ballpark. So I'm right in there around minus $2,300. Let's see. All right, I put another 500 in there. I'm down to minus 8,500. So I'm down, up. I'm only down, come on. It's to the 59s. That's where you are. Come on, break down. There we go. There goes the candle. Okay, I see it. Almost having a profit. Almost there we are. We're profitable now. Now we're profitable. So let's see how far we could take this. Again, you never know. There's absolutely no way of saying that, you're right or you're wrong at any given one time. So right now I'm up about literally nothing. I am profitable, so I'm not going to cry about that. But I'm hoping for that downward sweep down there. We're looking for Palantir to go red for the day. And if it does, it'll be a nice trade, and we'll get out of this thing looking real solid. So right now, I'm up about 1,500, 1,400, give or take, Okay, now it's starting to steam down there, okay? We're in the 20s. Let's see if it breaks down below 126. If it does that, I'll have a great day, and then I could call it a day. So that's what we're looking for, is to break down below 126. I'm up about 3,700, 4,000. Okay, come on. It's holding steady. So, truthfully, like I said, my thing is one and done. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? If you can get in there and get out and, get a quick trade in there and show that you're profitable, there's no reason to, you know what I'm saying, to stay longer and, have a headache all day long. So right now we're at 126 up. I saw it to 125. There we go. Come on. So we're seeing 125s now. If this doesn't flush down there, we are good as gold. Okay. So right now, we're having an excellent trade right now. We're up about $5,000 right now. So here it is. It's 9:38. We're 8 minutes into the market, and we're a little over $6,000. Okay, so now it's starting to steam down to where I want it to be. 68, 60, 62. I hate giving back money. I really do. It disgusts me. It disgusts me. So if it goes above 126 again, I'm going to get out because, like I said, as much as I want to make 20 grand, I also know that I can lose the whole thing. It's happened to me before. Where next thing I know, I was up 10 grand and now I'm down 5 grand, so it's a real pain in the ass. 126 is a level I get out of because that's usually when you get the dollars and the half dollars, that's your sticking point. Okay, so those sticking points are the one where, there's a lot of buying, a lot of selling where they're trying to hold it up. So this is still going down, but again, it's at 76 right now, 73, 74. It's holding tight. If it can get to that half dollar, I'll feel comfortable. But like I said, this is a great trade for me, so I'm not going to cry one way or the other. Okay, so I'm profitable, but it's definitely trying to hold up there and stick around to 126. So instead of making this a 24-hour trade, you know what I'm saying? What I could do is I could say, okay, fine, let me take off percentage, but I have stuff to do. I've got contractors coming to the house. Adding things to the house. I always love that, spending my money on my house, spending other stuff. Okay, there I am. I'm gone. So today I made a little over $4,400. And right now, will this bounce? Probably. Okay, so there you see it. It bounced up to 126.20, and it's holding tight. We got out at that red candle and you could see it's a long tail on the bottom. So it was bought up, you know what I'm saying? It's going back there. It's taking, like I said, this could be a point where it just rejects it and goes back down. But who can complain when you're up $4,400? I can't, $4,400, you do that every week. But the one thing you have to remember is, even though I'm up $4,400, is what did I do it off of? Okay, so to do that, you have to think realistically. My buying power is 25 times of what I can do if I wanted it. So if I put $100,000 in there, I could have $2.5 million worth of buying power. If I put 50,000 in there, I have 1.125 million. Now, $4,400 on $50,000, which is essentially what the money you're putting in, would be about 10%. So where else are you going to make 10% on your money? Now, again, I've had friends of mine ask me, why don't you do it all the time, full time, and this and that? I said, I get what you're saying, but I also know trading is a mental game more than anything. You have to be able to sit there and willing to look at something that's losing you money and feel the belief that you're going to be able to get out of it with a profit. Now, it doesn't always work that way. I've had the belief and then I've lost, okay? I have a good percentage of winning, but my losses sometimes are tremendous. You know what I'm saying? I could sit in there and I'll be looking at something. And that's one thing I've always tried to, hopefully I can control, is that when I lose, I cut the losses, but sometimes I don't cut the losses. And, if this would have went against me $10,000, I probably still would be in the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? So I admit, I've made mistakes, and you're always constantly learning as a trader. But the one thing that's good is that I have income on the side. I have my main income. This is actually my side income. So at this point, I feel everything that I make, regardless, is free money to me. So any way I look at it, and actually it turns out I got on the right side. It went as high as 34. So I would have given back almost all of my profits at that point. So that's what I'm saying, is that as much as I want to believe that I'm right, I could have taken off 8,000 shares and left 500 to run and see what happens, and then put the stop loss at maybe 10 cents above my purchase price. That I could have done, no doubt about it. But I also know that I don't want to spend 24 hours doing this, So everybody that I know, we all have businesses, we all have careers, and this is truly just, this is my Uber, basically. I go in there, I do one shot. Whether I'm going to make money or not, yeah, But overall, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, I look at my profit and loss. That's what I do. Did I make money or did I lose money for the year? And every month, every year, I've made money and I've made good money and I've sacked it away. I don't keep reinvesting into my trading account. What I do is I take the profits out daily. So this way, instead of, because when I first started, I would take the profits and I'd roll it. So now you'd have a $50,000 account, then tomorrow $55,000, then the next day $62,000 or $63,000. And then what happens is you start making bigger and bigger wages, okay? You start laying down bigger positions. And what happens is, from a mental aspect, when you lay down those bigger positions, you don't look at it the same way. You look at it where, if you had 50,000 and you were down 1,500, that's fine. But now when you have 100,000 and you're down 3,000, percentage-wise, it's the same exact position, but unfortunately, it's not the same amount of money in your mindset. So now you're down 3,000, and then now you start to panic in a different way where you were accustomed to the lower amount at 1,500. So that's what you have to really look at, is that how do you want to position this? Now, over time, I've added money to my account. So, where I was at 50,000, then I'm like, okay, now this year I'm going to try 65,000 all year long, or maybe 70,000, I go up in small increments to where I can handle it mentally, and I also know I have, money in the bank, and whether I make money or lose money today, nothing in my life is going to change. I don't try to hit home runs and make $400 million because it'll never happen. I'm not going to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? To give you an idea, if you look at Palantir right now, so what ended up happening is it went back up to 34. Now, if I had panicked, okay, I would have got out with no money, but now it's going down, and now it's, basically would have made me a profit again. So, that's what you have to look at is what's your risk tolerance and what are you looking to get out of it? I see too many people, they get into it and they want to get $1 on every stock or $2 on every stock. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Obviously, anytime that you go into a stock, there's going to be up and down fluctuations. Yeah, you could have caught it here and you could have wrote it up here, but that's not what I was doing. I caught it up here and I wrote it down here. So now you look at this, and right now it's, like I said, I was favoring the short on this, and that's what I was looking at. Same thing with IBIT. We were favoring the long on this, but you can only do one thing at a time. I'm not going to go on 10, 15 stocks, and then all of a sudden, next thing I know, I'm looking at everything, and I have no clue what I'm looking at. So NVIDIA, it made a nice bounce down there, and it charged back up. So again, Palantir was my play, and I know it's boring, it's stodgy, and that I play the same thing every time. But, I could have went into IBIT for a heck of a lot more shares. And yeah, you're right, it's charging up. And you look at when the bell opened up, it was sitting at about 60.56, I believe, and it's up 50 cents. So, you would have made a killing on this thing, no two ways around it. But I'm not going to complain, when I can make my money. So to give you an idea, there is no one stock that's going to be the winner of the day. You can take almost any stock if you study it and understand it and look at the momentum, as long as it has a couple of key ingredients, like it has volume on it, it has volatility on it. If you look at something like Ford, you're an idiot. Point blank, you're an absolute idiot because, yeah, it's a great long-term, well, actually, I don't even know that. But if you look at Ford, look at the range it's trading on from this morning, from 1062, right now, it's at 1061 to 1064.67. So you're sitting in here for approximately 5 cents, and you can watch paint dry faster than you can make money off of Ford. So granted, at $10, you can go in there and buy 10,000 shares and you'll feel like a big shot, you know what I'm saying? But, 1 penny goes the other way, which can happen with anybody. You look like a moron, So here, the volatility is on your side. And not only that, when you have a ton of volume, that's when the mathematics of it balances out. Again, if you're going to play one hand of blackjack, it's a crapshoot. If you're going to play 1,000 hands of blackjack and play it perfectly, which I cannot do, okay, but if you can play 1,000 hands of blackjack, what will end up happening is that if you play it perfect, the house will have an advantage of you like 50.3 or something like that. So you'll lose X amount. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you're never going to win the casino, let's be honest. But that's really how it is. Or if you, pick black or red on 1,000 flips of a coin, it'll be 50-50 after 1,000. On 3 flips of a coin, you might have 3 heads or 3 tails. So that's why you pick a stock with the most volume in there or a crazy amount of volume with a catalyst, because everything balances out mathematically. So again, that's what I wanted to talk about. So today we finished up $4,400, real quick trade in and out. Anyway, I will talk to you tomorrow if I can. Bye.